Hey, peace, family, peace. Okay, so this is my like way belated second part of the mastering self-love that I was talking about last week. That was like a really huge. That was like just huge for me to be able to get on and sit here live and just kind of like talk and share a bit about my story because I kind of tend to well, one of my issues is like just about being a people pleaser, but I always like to, make sure that I'm spreading light and love and everybody feels good and not bringing anyone down. And so, sometimes like sharing your story can be this, a downer. Like if your story has some down stuff, your story could definitely be a downer. And so sometimes I'm like hesitant to share too much of my personal story. I like to just kind of keep it positive, remind everybody of their beauty and goodness and, and how we're all going to win and everything like that. And stick to that. So to actually like really get up there and talk about, some stuff, the issues I'm having and things like that, while showing my 4 or 6 or whatever, however many gray hairs I got, that was like a big deal for me. And it was like a real door opener, even though I said I was going to make a post every day. And even though I haven't done that, it's actually because I've been busy. I was away for the weekend and I went to an event, and which is probably on my timeline somewhere. But I was at an event, but I didn't lose once the momentum kind of got out there, it was like this whole portal had shifted, and I think being able to make that video last time and also being able to make this video has been like cathartic for me, to be able to actually get up here and just like speak my truth and say it, and just talk about what's going on and stuff like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and dive right in. But yeah, so like last time, I don't even know what to say this time because I feel like I got everything out last time. I was going to try to do like a 10-minute video and divide it up into pieces. And I ended up doing like an almost 40-minute video just talking about like some of my past and some issues that I have. But a lot of the energy of what it was that I was sharing last time, and that kind of like something that I wanted to reiterate and kind of bring back as a reminder again, is just about getting to that place where we kind of like are really being authentic. And so, for me, this is like part of my abundance journey right now. A lot of people who are in this kind of spiritual movement and really waking up to, being conscious and connecting with the world and connecting with source and everything, at whatever level, whether it's like through culture, through diet, through, understanding politics better, whatever way gets you in the door. Once we're in there, it's kind of like, well, a lot of people seem to shun money and shun these certain things that we've been taught are evil, without really realizing that the reason why we're being taught that money is evil and that being wealthy is evil is because the people who are wealthy want to keep all the power to themselves, So we spend like a long time like turning that away and ignoring it and going against money. And I spent pretty much my entire life, like since I was 14, I was, a punk rocker, and I was just always against the system and always against money, always against the system. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Carrie. And I was always, against everything. And so coming to the stage now in life where I had to finally accept that some of the things that I want to do with my life require me to have the resources available to take care of myself, my family, my children, serve my community better, and to be able to have the kind of life that brings me joy and makes me inspired and gives me the ability to continue to serve other people with my gifts. And that requires money, and so finally, after years of fighting that truth and that reality and fighting against capitalism and being mad that this is the way the system is set up, I finally have gotten to the point where I accepted it. And then once I hit that acceptance place, then it was like The Secret, oh my God, okay, I believe it and manifest, and where's my money at? And was like, oh, well, it's not coming, what's the matter? Why, I'm calling it into existence, where is it? And so I realized that actually there's like a really, really, really deeply spiritual dimension to money chasing, and what your level is of your finances, not just of like what the number looks like, but of how money exists in your life, is really deeply tied to your self-love. And that was like a huge, that was just mind-blowing for me to realize that, not just at a mental and intellectual level, but to actually realize like, wow, I am going to continue to stay broke until my self-love reaches a certain level where I actually feel a connection to abundance, where I actually feel unlimited and feel abundant. So I've had to, like with the last video, like I had to come out of my comfort zone and actually address something that's like a really big deal for me, address this lack and limitation and everything, and where I really feel, and just kind of be honest with myself about where I'm at as far as money. Because if I wasn't where I'm at, I would have more, and obviously, when I'm saying these things, like, just like everything in existence, all of these things are tied to a bigger picture. So there's like your karmic story, there's your destiny path, there's what you decided with you and your ancestors and your guardians before you got here about what your, that call coming through, what your financial reality looks like. And it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference with how you live, because for me, my financial reality has been always scraping by, always getting just enough. And if any amount comes in more than the just enough, then I'm like quick to like, okay, well, what does everybody need? Does anybody need anything? Who needs something? Give it away. And I realized that uncomfortableness with having enough or having enough is like representing of me, because I haven't always through my life like felt like I was enough, I want to go back and kind of like, I know I spoke about this last week, so I don't want to be repetitive when I speak about these things, but I want to say, retell this for one reason, just because like if anybody else, whoever might not have caught my other live on this kind of similar topic, on the same topic, and then just as a reminder and a kind of opening to whatever new truths come through as I'm talking. But getting that space with the femininity, that was like a very damaging thing for me to go through, to have like my femininity abused. I mentioned last time, I was sexually abused as a child, and I was also physically abused. My dad's a psychologist, and he knew all the right ways to, just chop into you to make you feel really worthless, I can remember, when I was 13, I don't know, I guess it was in 7th grade or something like that, whatever grade that is, and I got a C. I was only allowed to get A's and B's, so I got a C on my report card, and when I came home, I got, the usual like beating for getting a C, for getting not all A's and B's. But when the beating was done, then my father told me that I should just die because I was never going to amount to anything anyway. And as you can imagine, that was like way worse than, the beating was pretty bad, but the words, the words stayed with me. And I basically kind of like and that was just like one sentence, one day, one time in my childhood. But that energy was repeated throughout my entire childhood, through the entire time that I lived with my father. That was the energy of my existence, was that if you don't match what we think is good enough, then you're really not really worthy to be here. And it's been like this lifelong process of like I'm having to constantly remind myself and constantly find reminders that I am worthy. And so when you don't feel worthy and you don't feel like what you have is enough and good enough, everything you touch and everything you create is like is part of you. So I've created a business. I created a system of yoga. I created an entirely new system of yoga from the things that transmuted and joined all together within me. That's what I created. Hey, peace, sis, peace. I created that from within me, and yet, even though I know how powerful it is and it actually has transformed my life, and I've been doing this for 12 years. Just this system of yoga, I've been doing this for 12 years. Like my entire life, my process, my sense of who I am, and everything has been has totally transformed from where I began. And somehow, even with that, it's still, I can't tell people about it because it's like, well, are they going to think it's valuable? And there's like a constant second guessing and a constant doubt, you know. I had like these same kind of issues going on, you know, relationship wise, as far as like my femininity. I was in relationships where I just felt like my femininity wasn't going to be enough for any man anyway. So I might as well choose somebody who's, you know, like dying to receive at least whatever, you know, little crappy little, you know, energy that I am as a being, and just have that. And not, you know, not that lately, but there was an incident. There actually was an incident. I think I'm going to be brave today and go ahead and share it. But I was living in Miami I guess 2 years ago now. And now, so mind you, like, so all this time I've been, you know, kind of like building myself up, and I've been getting better and better. And I've just got to this place where I had been kind of really starting to be at peace with my own power and just like really enjoy who I am. Yes, peace, sis, peace. Thank you. I did. I was getting to this place like to really be like, wow, okay, you know, I'm really here. I'm really, you know, the things I have value. People are noticing the value. I think I'm worth something, you know, and this isn't like a conscious thought, of course, but in the sense of like this energy within you where you just start to feel valuable. And right around that time, so this was like 2 years ago, I guess in October, I was sexually assaulted again. And so you know, I'm sorry to keep repeating, but I was sexually assaulted for my entire third grade year. So when I was 7 years old, I had to live through that as like a regular occurrence. Be woken up in the middle of the night to that experience. And then when I was in my mid-teens, you know, 16, 17, I was sexually assaulted again. And that was more just kind of based on just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, because I wasn't aware enough at that age to kind of, you know what the right things to do and how to feel out the right people. And, you know, I was trusting everybody and ended up having that happen again. So even after all these years, it was like I did this I hit this really powerful place in my spiritual development where I was just like on fire. Like everything was going right for me. I was making moves. I was like really living into my reality and really embracing like who I am, what I came to be. And right at that time, and I really hate how the universe sends these. I don't believe in tests and stuff. You know, to me, that's kind of like an old, you know, that's like old type of, I don't want to, you know, insult anybody's like, you know, spiritual path or anything like that. But that's just like an old type of religious paradigm, you know, believing like, oh, the universe is here testing us and stuff. That just my personal belief. But there are things that happen like as far as our growth and for whatever reason. And then sometimes I think just bad stuff happens, you know, meteors collide into planets, and sometimes bad people collide into good people. And but you know, when bad things collide into you, you have to face your you know, whatever it is that you're going through. And thank you, sis. Thank you. Peace. Yeah, you have to like face what you're going through. So I was sexually assaulted right at a time that I was like really feeling good about myself and really feeling like I was kind of like living into who I'm supposed to be. And my entire inner reality, even before I was consciously aware of it, my entire inner reality crumbled back into this like just dark, negative, feminine, destructive place. And I totally lost all sense of self again. It triggered, you know, very badly. It brought up every like unhealed piece of everything that hadn't been dealt with at that point. And I had dealt with a lot. Like I have really gone through some really, really deep healing with the sexual energy, with my femininity, with my sexual energy, my polarity, understanding it at an intellectual level, understanding it at a spiritual level, understanding it emotionally, understanding it in a dynamic of how I relate to other men, to other women, to my children, to my family, and everything, and just understanding like me and completing that space. And then it was like every piece that wasn't complete was raked up again by that incident. And so I kind of fell apart. I fell apart again. And the next relationship I had after that situation had happened was a relationship with somebody who was like so destructive and negative and toxic. And I wasn't fully aware of it at that time. As I was in it, I was aware that that was not a balanced relationship, from the jump. But I didn't feel capable of getting better than that. And it was like all of the stuff that I had thought that I had healed all broke and sent me spiraling back downwards. And I just spiraled into this, darkness and negativity. And I was in it. The relationship was like very, very toxic and ugly. There was I was, paying, struggling, trying to work and hold everything down for everybody. I was enduring, verbal abuse and at the very end, and I was also cheated on. And then at the very end of the relationship, not only was I cheated on, and multiple times, but at the end of the relationship, I was assaulted. I was physically assaulted for calling the person out about the cheating. And I was just I was so broken. I was so broken, and I had to. That was the point at which I took a year off and decided that I needed to go all the way back within, because it's bad enough when you feel like you feel like you know where you're at and you feel you're healing and you know that you have work to do. But when you hit a place where you feel like, okay, I'm sailing, you get up on your surfboard and you're like, all right, I'm holding on, I'm hanging on, I'm doing it. And then when you get knocked off and bitten by a shark, that's a really painful lesson. It's a really painful way to have to, re-experience the fact that every part of you is not healed, and to go back in and try to heal parts. So for me, I was like, okay, well, something, I am going to withdraw all the way into my being and go back, and I'm going to have to really, really work on whatever pieces were missing, whatever didn't get lined up, and fix it, because I cannot ever, I was raised, I was abused growing up. I was physically abused, emotionally abused. And my first relationship was with somebody who was amazing and lovely and kind and good and funny and warm and caring. And I was so by how loved I felt. I couldn't cope with the feeling of being so comfortable and happy and good and safe. And again, none of this was conscious, but I ended up ending that relationship for no reason, for no reason at all. I was like, oh, come on, we're young and we shouldn't be doing this. And, and I left the relationship literally for no reason. I was completely happy. And then the next 3 relationships I had were with people the next 2 relationships I had were with people who abused me badly. I was with an alcoholic who, broke my nose, broke a rib, damaged my eye. I have permanent eye damage in one of my eyes because of how badly I was abused by one of the relationships, and that was a long time ago. I was 19 years old at that time when I left that relationship. So from 19 years old until 2 years ago, I totally separated myself and did enough of a level of work and healing where I released the dynamic, the cores that drew me into relationships with people who were physically abusing me. I didn't always end up with people who really saw my full value, but I was with people who were at least where it was happy and comfortable and at least physically safe. And so after all of those years, to end up in a relationship that was so toxic really shook me. It really shook me to my core. And I had to pull back and examine every aspect of my being about how after this many years, after decades, did I end up in a relationship with somebody who's toxic and abusive? What am I doing? How did I get here? And it was so soul crushing, and And that was also in the middle of this journey of, of like getting more productive and getting, good with my work and my gifts that I've come to bring the world, and to be knocked down at that point. And I realized that the sexual abuse from 2 years ago had actually triggered that deep negative space in my femininity, that it broke me right back down to the space of not worthy. Like, I'm not worthy as a being. I'm not worthy. Like, I'm not worthy to be loved and treated with respect. And so the very next thing that I went to seek out after that incident was that exact energy, was not worthy of love, not worthy of respect. And that's what I got. And I realized that being thrown back into that space also was like so severely detrimental on my finances. I went from having savings to being like utterly financially trashed, and emotionally trashed, and just trashed in every way. And it was just really such a horrible, awful wake-up call, at the end of that relationship. And I'm extremely, like, once I had gotten out of the kind of like toxic abusive cycle of, sexuality and energy and that type of stuff, I was very careful. I've been very careful with my sexual energy. I'm not a flirty type anyway. I just believe that sexual energy is sacred, and I don't share that with everyone. I share that with people only if I mean it, and I'm totally comfortable sharing out polarity in other ways, but that's just not me. I don't share out sexual energy, and so to have to go all the way back in, wind through it all, and readdress all of the things in order to readdress my health, my emotional health, my physical health, my finances, and then even worse, even though I'm so sexually careful, I was sleeping with somebody, with the enemy, who was in situations that could have been, like bringing diseases. And so I was like totally frantic, like, oh my God, like what if I die? What if I die of AIDS because I chose the bad relationship? And I think that point of realizing that like I could die and leave my children with no mother because I chose the wrong partner was the catalyst. That was the final catalyst for me, like sitting and waiting for the test results to come back. And by the way, perfectly clean, all good, everything. I was sharing with somebody recently that the last contact that I had with that person was to take a picture of my entirely clean STD test and hold it up and, with a middle finger, because, the person was still asking for me to come back into the relationship and everything. And that's like, I might be injured, but I'm not stupid, So yeah, that was a no-go from the jump. But yeah, that my last message to that person was like, just, hey, you didn't get me. And then I shut that down. Permanently, so, but anyway, that's, whatever, I'm sidebarring, but just saying that, like, when you have to sit and you have to wait, and I don't know how many of you have ever taken, an AIDS test, but it's the longest wait you'll ever have, some of you might, the EPT, waiting for the EPT to shake dry might be a long wait, but I'm telling you, waiting for an AIDS test result is the longest wait you will ever have, And all the time that it took to actually think, like, wow, to really think, like, what have I done to my children? What have I done to my family? What did I do to myself? Why did I do this? I deserve better. And so I really had to go into a space of making a total devotion and dedication to love myself so deeply and so strongly that no incident like that would ever happen to me again. And so I really went into putting in the work, and it wasn't easy because I was dealing also with some health issues that I was going through, and I was dealing with some legal issues at the time. I'm not even going to go into that, but just to not make it sound like I'm a criminal or whatever, there was like actually I will go there just to put it out there, because I don't want to, anybody wondering like what I did, because I'd be wondering. But yeah, I had a speeding ticket, and which also, again, same thing back with the whole finances, that even if I had known about the ticket, I wouldn't have even been able to pay it at the time because I was giving so much money and shelling out so much money on this relationship. But at the time, I was, Sorry. Oh, there's energy here. But anyway, let me continue. But at the time, oh dear, I've lost my train of thought on that. But yeah, so I'll come back to whatever it is that I was saying about that. But I just realized that how deep the work that I needed to do. Oh, right. So the ticket. Right. That's what I was about to say about my proving to you I'm not a criminal. But I had a red light speeding ticket. Or no, I'm sorry, red light. I ran a red light and got a ticket in the mail, which I guess had gone to like an old address or something like that. Yeah, no, not speeding, not speeding. I always speed, but I never get caught for that for some reason. Knock on wood. And I went through a red light, so I got a ticket for it. Never knew about the ticket, never paid it. You know, it went to the court thing, turned into a warrant. And then one morning, I was driving my daughter to school, and this was shortly after the end of that relationship, and shortly after yeah, exactly, sis. And shortly after the whole, waiting for the AIDS test thing, and then realizing that I had like literally almost thrown my life in the trash. Just a few weeks after that of just getting my nose above water and breathing through that incident, I was driving my daughter to school one day and ended up getting pulled over. And because there was a warrant for the unpaid ticket, I went to jail. And I actually, because they listed the warrant as like a, I don't know, like as a failure to show or something like that. So I ended up spending 2 weeks in jail over a red light traffic ticket. And so I didn't even get to begin the healing process of what I had been through before I had to like immediately go right into the next trauma and deal with that. And so and I was also dealing with like I said, with some health issues and things like that. So it was just like a ship in the water that had already been smashed and never like had time to build it. Like I still had to ride the waves and go through the sea and move through the ocean in my pieces of broken ship, and it was so difficult. It was so traumatic and so difficult. And I realized how I totally bottomed out. I totally bottomed out and realized that if I did not entirely rebuild myself into something different than what I was, that I was going to be permanently damaged. And so the total will and the drive was there to change my reality. And that's so digging down into these situations, this is where, because like you had, I'm always like, get to the root, get to the core, what is actually going on. And when I dug down to the root of this situation, the bottom of the root was the very same thing, the very same problem that I've been battling with all my life. It was the same thing. It was back to the self-love. It was back to the sense of worthiness, the sense of being fully worth my own existence. And now intellectually, I'm totally aware of my value. Spiritually, I'm totally aware of my value. And those aren't enough. You have to be whole in your self-awareness. You have to be whole in your ability to understand who you are and what your value is and what you bring. And so I've been working through a lot of those lessons, pretty much, yeah. I took I took a dedicated year to shift that reality and turn that into something else, and I was able to manifest like something totally different than what I had been living in, and now at this point, because I don't know, this little, even though it's just like something very minor here, if you just like look behind me, I kind of wanted to like halfway leave that in the screen because it's so pretty. And I am so grateful for like every piece of the reality that I'm living now. And I did this, this is doable, this is creatable. Like I actually fought so hard and did so much work. But the work that you have to do in order to get to this is like requires you to totally bare your soul to yourself. And it's really hard, you know. It's hard too as a spiritual person who has done, like, I've been helping others for years now. You know, I like I said, I have the yoga system. I work with Serpent Power. I have worked with people and connecting. Oh, nice! So you can hear the birds. That's cool. Yeah, like I've been working with people. I have worked with people where I have helped them cure cancer. I have cured cancer myself. I didn't even share this. This was like another part of the process. I had breast cancer in January. I cured it. I cured breast cancer in a month. That's a whole other video. I'm going to make another separate thing that, you know, when I do that one. And just talk about that and what that process was, because that was the final process of my femininity. That's something that's like really, really a very big deal to me to share with my sisters who also feel like their femininity has been destroyed, who feel like they've been taken advantage of, like they've been abused, whether in whatever level. And abuse can range like anywhere from just like not being recognized for your own beauty all the way to, you know, actual physical or sexual or whatever kind of abuse. And so, but anyway, I'm like sidetracking again. But yeah, you know, I just like, I did the work. I had to bare my soul to myself. I'm like, oh, I'm a healer. I've helped people cure this and fix that and get their, you know, families and their marriages back together and do this. And like, and what about me? Like, why am I, you know, why can't I pull this together for myself? And I had to look at who I am and what am I bringing? What am I lacking? What's sick in me that needs healing, and really, really like be honest with it. You know, what is it, and also, you know, what have I done? Because, you know, you have to look at everything karmically, energetically, whatever you left out. And, you know, I know some people, especially people come out with their whole master teacher vibe and they're, oh, I'm a teacher, I'm a healer. I don't even like titling myself as any of those things. I'm just me who's living this journey, and I could call myself a healer because I did heal me. I know I'm a healer because I healed me. So all I want to do is just share what I did and what I feel and what I've been through, so that if anybody else connects with it, then they can like feel that process and know that there's some hope. You know, we all need to like pull on each other and get some hope out of, you know, like we need to know that it's possible. We need to know that healing is possible. So for me, like, I'm kind of like, hey, yeah, healing's possible. Believe me, I promise you. I laid in a surgery bed 2 months ago, waiting to get surgery, waiting to have my breast cut open so that a tumor could be removed, and there was no tumor left because I healed it. And like I said, that's another video, because that's like, I'm super excited to share that too. But yeah, I'll save that for another one. But so I'm here. I've arrived at this point, and I'm so grateful for everything that I've got to so far, because what my life, what my reality, what the beauty that exists around me now is saying to me is that you did it. You made it past that space. I'm in the happiest relationship that I've had possibly in my life. But if not my entire life, definitely like many years, you know, in a forgettable number of years. Like, it's, you know, since the last time that I was like joyful and whole and fully at peace and in just like, you know, enchanted by what I have. And I did that. I went from toxic, sick abuse to joy, to total joy. And I did that. And this next hurdle, this next running around the track one more time, you know, because it feels like this, you know, onion has never-ending layers. This lotus has, thank you, sis. Oh, with the flawless skin, I'll be looking at my sisters like, oh, if only I looked like that. I still have some way to go on the self-love thing, so thank you. Yes, but so I made the mastery. I got the mastery out of the work I did. I did it, and I got to here, and now I need to have this level of abundance. I need to reach this level of abundance. So my spiritual journey now is mastering the level of self-love that will allow me to have abundance, where I can help other people, where I can serve the community, where I can do things, where I can give things to my daughters that I've never been able to give them. And I've been, for most of my life, well, pretty much all my life, actually, not most, I've been an experienced person. You know, I'm a Sagittarius. Hey, shout out. And you know, we care for the most part more about like life experiences and things like that than owning stuff. You know, I've been to 23 countries. My daughters have each been to like 9 or 10 countries. I've done crazy things, you know, all over the planet and connected with, you know, people and had, oh, thank you, sis. You know, and I've connected with people from like I've had just like this amazing life experience at some levels, and I never cared about, you know, owning material stuff or having a set base or having solid things, but foundations have value. You know, part of the, you know, our existence, creation has a foundation. It has a foundation built on laws, and foundations are important. You know, and I realized that the reason that it's in my personality too to not really care that much about ownership and foundations and stuff like that, but also I went to the point of like overbalance with that because of that lack of self-worth and that lack of self-love. So what I need to do now is like really finish putting that self-love in place fully. I need to be able to see something that's like just so beautiful and not feel that trigger like, oh, you know, I need to see one of my stunning sisters and at the same moment, and as I'm celebrating her beauty, like, wow, man, she's beautiful, not to get that like thing in the gut of my stomach, like, man, you know, if you were that pretty, you would have this and you'd be able to do this and you would get so much more of that. And I need to be able to feel that love totally pure, because I feel it. But there's still a trigger in me when I see people who are like abundant and are like totally comfortable with themselves. Like, oh yes, you know, like there's an era of people you see who you don't even know their financial abundance status, but you can feel their abundance because they're so at peace with themselves. Like that's when I see these women who are like super graceful and just like graceful and beautiful, and they just have this air of somethingness that I don't have or don't know that I have or am missing, or whatever it is, whatever the secret is that I will be finding out through my journey. Whatever that is, like I need to be able to see that and experience that, and instead of having that twinge of regret because like I'm not worth that, or I can't have that, or because I can't build that, I need to be able to look at that with total, like, yeah, I see you, sister, because I got the same. You know, we're out here, we're doing it. You know, I need that. I need to experience that. I need to experience joy and bliss without triggers. You know, and everybody has their things. Like seriously, some of you sisters, some of you who are on here right now listening are like some of the most stunning sisters, the most accomplished sisters that I know. And I'm like, you guys are like, oh, you know, saying, you know, oh yeah, and you know, I'm going through this, and I'm like, what? You're stunning. I wanted to look like you. When the sun hits your face and you have that cheekbone thing, I wanted that, you know. And I'm like, what? You guys are, you know, you guys are looking at me. You think I'm pretty, you know, or something. And yeah, it's just funny. So I know we all have our stuff. You know, and unfortunately social media like definitely helps us like put this, you know, amazing perfect reality forward, and we get to hide the rest if we choose. You know, I don't choose to hide the rest, but I just try to, you know, shine to help other people shine. I don't try to hide my stuff because I'm ashamed of it or anything, but I just don't want to bring anybody down with my mess. But I realized that actually as I'm developing my self-love, like I'm realizing like not only is my mess not bringing people down, but actually like people are appreciating, you know, the journey. Like it feels good when you don't have to be perfect and breath held in and, you know, and everything's all right, because that's everybody else is perfect too and you can't breathe. And when you realize like, oh man, like we've all got our stuff we're working on, you know, and we can all be at total peace with it. And everything I have here, it's yours. My sister is here. My brothers, it's yours. And just be able to give that in total freedom and with just honor between us all, you know. And I'm so excited to have that reality. And I'm really excited, especially because I feel like I'm building that reality. And every day I see little steps of it coming closer and closer, and little parts of it that are, yeah, it's just unfolding. It's unfolding, and I'm getting there, you know. And again too, I just have to give a little plug. Last time I think I embarrassed myself because I think I said a lot about my relationship, and I was like really gushy and happy and joyful and in this really positive space. But there was something else, there were just like two other things, I wanted to share about that, which are like a little off topic of what I'm actually talking about. But I wanted to share them just because in the space of like a powerful, positive relationship, you can fully expand and open and blossom into yourself. And that was something that I never allowed myself before. I've been trying to be perfect for so long that there are pieces of myself that I wouldn't even give up, even in my relationship. And I'm in a relationship now where I actually am able to show my whole entire self. Like, I'm not afraid to show all of who I am. I'm still like, I like clean and neat and pretty, I'm not trying to, have any, yucky bits or things like that, but at the same time, I feel comfortable just being myself, and really bottom line. And I think there's definitely something to say too for a man who is powerful enough to let you fully be yourself without being intimidated by who you are, number one, and without trying to compete with you, which in a lot of my relationships over the past years have been with people who either don't see my light at all and just don't see that I have really as much value as what I actually seem to be bringing to the world, and just kind of don't really connect with it, or people who see my value and feel like they have to like keep up and beat that, and so they're always trying to like compete with me, and both of those are just really negative because I want to be seen. I don't want to be the woman behind the glass wall where you can't even see and recognize like who I am and what I'm doing. I want you to see me fully, and I realized also part of allowing somebody to see me fully, like I was choosing relationships that didn't see me fully because I didn't want to be seen, because I didn't want that to get out. I didn't want to be vulnerable. I don't want to let anybody see all the parts of me and see my ugly side, and at whatever capacity that is, physically, emotionally, and so I try to stay with the, hey, here I am, yep, always happy, always good, everything, and that's not sustainable. Nobody's happy all the time, 24/7. And so, I'd be like happy until I ruptured, and then it would like explode and turn into, something, some kind of meltdown, or emotional meltdown or whatever. And then I looked, stupid because like I could have just let it out in a healthy way. And so these are like all these little details of the process of that self-mastery, of getting that self-love, is like I've reached a place where I am completely at peace with just letting my real self show, and so I know that I'm going to get there. Like, I know that I'm going to get to that full place where where I'm totally at peace with my being, where I don't feel triggered when I see somebody graceful, and I don't feel triggered when I see somebody stunning, and I don't feel triggered when I see somebody wealthy, and feel like those are things that I'm never going to have. I feel like, like those are things I can attain. All I have to do is just put my will and my work and my effort into being my actual self. Like, that's the crazy part, is that all I had to do was come here and just be my actual self. It's stupid when you think about how much you put into adding on, all these add-ons. It's like some freaking, like airplane, okay, well, this kind of seat and upgrade and more than peanuts, and, like we are enough. We came as enough. All of us came as enough. We came as who we're supposed to be. And even if who we're supposed to be is like, something that doesn't look like the society we live in, that doesn't match the culture that we're in, that doesn't match the friend circle we have, that doesn't match our, friends at work, whatever it is, like we just have to fully get back to self. Like the more I'm my authentic self, the more people think that I'm beautiful. And I was baffled by that at first, because I'm like, oh no, look at this, and and I'm like, the giggly one, like I'm super not graceful. When I look at other women, I'm like, oh, she's so graceful and just elegant, and I'm not elegant. I'm not elegant. I'm not graceful. I'm just me. I'm just like Sagittarianly tumble over, knock over the cup, me, and so I didn't want to be that, and finally, I'm learning to be at peace with that, and the more I'm at peace with myself, like the more all of this the energy of my own reality comes out. Like I'm actually able to see my beauty more and give myself value more, and the more I'm like that, the more I connect with people who actually see me, see my real self, because I'm just being my real me, and who appreciate me and honor me for who I am. And so it's like a snowball process, like this, exponential shift in the little trajectory. Somebody showed me this, like, I don't remember who, a friend of mine who actually has a gun store, or a friend I met when I was doing the community service for the jail thing that I did, who has become my friend. He has a gun store, but he's super wise, like really, really funny guy, who was telling me about how, like, the trajectory of a gun, and he was like, using that as the metaphor for, for our life. And it's like when the gun is here, you have the gun in your hand here, and if you just shift it this much, when you shoot the gun out of the bullet, because the gun is designed to shoot it so far, it can go all the way over there or all the way over there with like the slightest shift, just from the part that you control. You don't control the bullet, but you control the gun, and the gun pushes the bullet out. Same thing within the being. You don't control what everybody else thinks, feels, does, who shows up in your life, but you control this piece here, like this. And so when I just shifted the inner trajectory just that much, you think, because we're looking outside and we're like used to focusing on external reality, I'm thinking like, oh my God, I have to like change leaps and bounds to be somebody else. I have to get breast implants, and I have to go to, graceful school so I can learn how to be graceful, and I'm going to have to figure out my finances, and then I'll start to bring the things in my life that I want. And like, no, all you have to do is like the slightest shift in here changes your whole trajectory, and all of the rest of what's like magnetized comes to you. And we know this, we all know this, like that, those words are that's so overplayed right now. Everybody knows The Secret, and everybody knows, oh, I'm a power manifestation, and if we just do this, these things will happen to us. But everybody says that, but it's not happening to everybody. There's still people living mediocre lives, so something is missing, and the thing that's missing is because everybody's like over the wall over there trying to like change all that stuff out there so that their bullet will go from there to there, without realizing that there's like actually a very minimal amount of work that's required. Not minimal, but it's like very internal. It's just all contained within this space right here. And mastering the ability to come back from all the way out there to all the way in here is like the first step. And then once you get in here, then the actual shift that takes place, as long as you go at it with dedication and with honesty, as long as you're honest about yourself and who you are and what it is you're trying to be to yourself and what you really want out of your life, like those trajectories will shift and they'll change. And so yeah, I don't know. I probably rambled on, honestly. I don't even know if I even covered the point that I was even, doing this video for. But just that's pretty much like where it is. I just want to, just share that and just remind you all, like, just once again, remind you all that you guys are so beautiful. You're so amazing. I am so grateful for all of you. And even though we're like coexisting in this, virtual world, the work that we're doing is real. And I feel really supported and connected by the people who I know now, and I feel like I have, as I come out of myself and as I blossom into my financial reality and into more of my self-love, that the people I'm connecting with are people who are reflecting that back to me. All of you are beautiful. You guys are so accomplished. You're all like goddesses and gods in your own right, and so I feel amazing to be walking next to you, to be walking alongside of you and enjoying you guys' journeys as well. And also to remind you that whatever, my journey's looking like over here, like, it sure ain't perfect, and I'm sure you guys' journeys aren't perfect either. And we're, so we just have to stop looking at each other like, oh, I wish I had, and just like appreciate the ride, and just really give that, just remember, like, for whatever it takes, if you have to, whatever type of learner you are, whether you learn from the heart, whether you learn from mantras repeated over and over, like whatever it is. I'm not an affirmations person because, no matter what words come out of my mouth, if I don't believe it here and here, it's just like dead words just tumbling out of my lips. Like it has no reality. So affirmations never helped me. But if affirmations help you, by all means, like tell yourself, remind yourself over and over how amazing you are, how beautiful you are, how good you are, how accomplished you are, because you are. Like you're here, you made it this far. Whatever you're going through is the beginning of the next stage of your process, you know, and like I said, little trajectory to change huge things. So yeah, so I'm just gonna leave you guys with that. Told y'all way too much today. I don't think I have any secrets left. But I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for like sharing this with me. I am gonna try to continue, you know, doing like a little video every day, even if it's just like 10 minutes or something, just to kind of like continue to come out of my comfort zone and speak out from my soul, because I kept my voice like shut down so hard for so long. I have throat chakra work that needs doing and everything, and I, you know, every day I do a little meditation in the morning now, and I just like pull the, you know, gray stifled energy from out of my throat center, just to kind of like continue to come back and speak my reality and just say it, you know, and stop being ashamed that I'm not good enough, or that you guys are going to think I'm an idiot, or, you know, or that, you know, whatever, like whatever is the problem of the day. Today was, I almost didn't do it because my lips were chapped, and I was like, oh God, and then somebody's going to say something about my chapped lips. So, you know, maybe, hopefully what I said had more value than whatever my chapped lips are taking away from the scene. But yeah, you know, so no, actually, I'm definitely not single. I am extremely happily in a relationship, which I mentioned earlier in this video. But thank you, still appreciated. But yeah, so thank you all so much. Much love to all of you. I appreciate you, and I will talk to you all soon.